Happy New Year and welcome back or welcome for the first time to Milestone's Middle School Digital Shorts. We're kicking off a new series today called Moods. And before I tell you what it's all about, I have a question for you. What is your favorite song? I know, that's kind of a tough question. And if you're anything like me, your favorite song probably changes all the time. You see, when I'm feeling really good and happy, I love to listen to Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake. You know, I've got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Right? It's a feel-good song. And when I'm trying to pump myself up for the big game or get excited about something challenging, I listen to The Fever by Lecrae, and it goes like, them have flu, we not catch the fever. You can't cut through my life like the greaser. You can never shut the mouth of a believer. Bigfoot can't fit in my sneakers. That's a pretty epic song, right? It will pump anybody up. And you know, when I'm really mad or frustrated with somebody, then I listen to Michael Jackson's Leave Me Alone. So just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Stop it. Just stop dogging me around. Woo-hoo. Sorry, my bad. I don't think I was supposed to do that one. But also, if you're feeling sad, well, for me, I like to listen to Nat King Cole's Smile. And it goes a little something like this. Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there were clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile with your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. You know, maybe you're the same way. You've got a favorite song that speaks to what you're dealing with. You've got a song that fits each feeling, one that matches every mood, you know, one that reflects the emotions that you might be experiencing. And it's pretty amazing just how songs can make us feel happy or mad or sad, isn't it? Well, that's what our series is about. Our feelings, our emotions, our moods. Maybe you hear the words emotions and you think, oh yeah, I know what emotions are. Happy, mad, sad. Or maybe you hear the word feelings and you think, oh, I'm totally familiar with that word. I'm Hobie's hungry. That's a feeling, right? Well, sort of. You see, as middle schoolers, you're probably feeling 1,000,001 things every day. And while hunger is definitely a feeling you get in your stomach when you're hungry, what we're talking about today is a little different. We are talking about the things you feel in your mind. Now, chances are you might not always know how to talk about what you're feeling. You know you're feeling something, but you may not be sure what exactly to call it. That's because feelings change fast. And often what you're feeling goes beyond the feelings you have words for. Sometimes you're more than just mad. Sometimes it's your mom grounded you this week mad. Or your sister stole your sweater mad. Or your best friend didn't invite you to the party mad. Or maybe it's not a mad feeling, but it's a sad feeling, like your parents are in a fight again, sad. Or you didn't make the team, sad. Or you didn't get a carnation during lunch at school, sad. Wait a second, a flower for lunch? That's milk? Now that's sad. And anyways, or maybe you scored the winning goal, happy. And you got the lead in the dance group, happy. And you finally got your own room, happy. You see what I mean? Sometimes what we're feeling is so much more than just the words we have. It's so much deeper than just happy or sad or mad. So what do we do with all these moods? Here's what everyone watching needs to know. Emotions are a good thing. Even the bad emotions, feeling what we feel is actually a great and healthy thing to do. But at some point, we all probably struggled or been told we struggle and managing many different moods we have, and honestly, that looks different for all of us. Maybe you tend to avoid letting your feelings and emotions show because you don't want to seem weak. But here's the thing, having feelings doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Or maybe you struggle with your moods because it feels like they'll last forever. Like the way you feel now seems like the way you will always feel. You're sad and you can't figure out how to get out of it. Or you're happy and you hope it lasts forever. We've all been there. We've all thought that what we feel now will be what we feel forever. Or maybe you don't think much about your own feelings, but you see people's worlds revolve around theirs. Your parents, your friends, your coach, your older siblings, your younger siblings, the kids in your school, the guy losing in the viral video game in the internet. Everybody around you seems to be obsessed with what they're feeling. Maybe you've said or done something out of the ordinary because of what you're feeling. Maybe it's something you regretted. Maybe you yelled at your parents when you were angry, or you threw something at your sibling when you were frustrated, or you stormed out of the room and slammed the door when you were overwhelmed. Now, typically, these aren't you. These aren't things that you usually do or say. And that's because, like a lot of us, you got caught reacting to your feelings. Like we all have at some point. You got stuck letting your emotions tell you what to do. In other words, you let your emotions be the boss of you. And honestly, we all do this. We all struggle with controlling our feelings instead of letting them control us. After all, it's hard to say no to our feelings when they're so strong. It's hard to take control of our feelings when our feelings seem like they have all the power. You see, the problem with this isn't that we have feelings. There's nothing wrong with having feelings or even developing a mood. The problem starts when we let our feelings become the boss of us, when we let our moods tell us what to do. The thing that I love about Jesus is so much of what he teaches is helpful for everyone. Whether you consider yourself a Jesus follower or not, there's something you can take from what we're going to talk about today. It's something really cool that Jesus said during his time on earth that I think can help us. Something that shows us how to control our moods rather than letting our moods control us. And here's what I think is cool about this. Not only can we trust what Jesus says about our feelings because he is God himself, but we can also trust him because he was human too. When Jesus came to earth, he came as human, and that means that he experienced what we do. He knows what it is to feel all the feelings. So when he talks about our emotions, we can trust that he knows what he's talking about. So let's take a look at what Jesus had to say to a group of people about feelings. And then he added, "It is what comes from inside that defiles you. For from within, out of a person's heart comes evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, wickedness, deceit, lustful desires, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. All these vile things come from within. They are what defiles you." Jesus was talking to a crowd of people when he said this. And in that crowd of people were Pharisees and other teachers of the law. These were people who thought they knew exactly what they had to do to be right with God. They knew the law or the rules that had been passed down to them inside and out. And they thought living by these rules made them good. But Jesus, well, he lived in a way that looked completely different than the Pharisees thought he should. He was less concerned about what people were doing and more concerned about what was going on inside of them. He was focused on what was happening in their hearts. That's why Jesus started here by pointing out that there's so much more to our actions or words. that long list of stuff that he talked about here, the evil thoughts, the pride, the foolishness, the deceit, the greed, all those things start from within. They are an overflow of what we feel in our hearts. And when we aren't paying attention, what we feel in our hearts can take over and become the boss of us, controlling what we do and say. Because of that, we need to take our moods more seriously. We need to pay attention to how we feel, because how we feel motivates how we act. Our moods come out in our words, in our actions, our choices, and more. Now, I get that this isn't going to be easy. We not only have to identify what we feel, but we also need to pay attention to how it makes us act. How are we supposed to not let our feelings be the boss of us when the feelings are just so strong? Well, I think Jesus understood that this was going to be hard. He knew that whether you're 11 years old or 103 years old, that this was going to be a struggle. And that's why I think Jesus also said this. Then Jesus said, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." See, the feelings stuff is hard. Jesus knew that. And that's why he offers to do it with us. When we're feeling something and it's intense, Jesus tells us to come to him. When we are tempted to let our moods ruin someone else's mood, Jesus tells us to come to him. When we're not even sure if it is what we're feeling is okay, Jesus tells us to come to him. When we're feeling like our emotions are out of control, difficult to understand, or simply making us act in ways that we don't typically act, Jesus tells us to come to him. Maybe you're thinking, this all sounds great, but you're not really sure what it looks like to go to Jesus. Well, going to Jesus can mean different things to each of us. Maybe for you, it's trusting for the first time that Jesus is with you. Maybe for you, it's reading your Bible or praying or singing worship songs. It could be talking to Jesus directly about what you're feeling, the same way you would talk to a friend or trusted adult in your life. Or maybe it's simply remembering that Jesus knows what it's like to feel big feelings. You can be comforted that he's right there with you. And here's what I want you to remember. When you're feeling like your moods are controlling you, Jesus will give you rest. He'll give you help. He'll give you a break from the weight of your feelings. He'll help lead you in a better way. We can go to him with anything that we're feeling because he's not scared of our big feelings. He wants us to turn to him through it all. He's a better boss than our emotions will ever be. So often it feels like our feelings are the boss of us, but here's what I want you to know today. Because of Jesus, emotions don't have to be the boss of you. So, what does that exactly mean? What exactly does it look like to take a step back from letting your feelings be in control? What does it look like to not let your emotions be the boss of you? Well, here are a few things that I think you can do to start. 1, try to think of the top 1 or 2 emotions that you have the hardest time controlling, and think of the ones that end up motivating you to say or do something that you wouldn't normally do. The ones that end up bossing you around more than you like. Maybe it's rage or sadness or frustration or anxiety or fear. Whatever it is for you, start paying attention to it. Remember, we said it's important to pay attention to our feelings. When we do or say something that isn't the way we would normally act, stop and think about why. The truth is, it may be difficult to do this in the moment, so it takes practice. And if you're already acted because of your emotions, well, give yourself some time to think about why you said what you said or did what you did. Ask yourself, what was I feeling just before I said or did it? Pay attention to the moods that you were experiencing just before you acted. That will help you recognize it the next time that you're feeling that way. 2, talk about your feelings. For some of us, this comes super easy. We love to talk about our feelings and what's making us feel those things. But for others of us, this isn't very fun or easy. For some of us, talking about our feeling feels, well, awful. I'm not saying we need to pour our hearts out about our emotions. I'm just asking each of us to identify what we're feeling and to check in with ourselves. To name our moods. If you're mad, say that. If you're angry, say that. If you're depressed, talk about it. Remember, it's not wrong to feel a certain way. Feelings are real, but sometimes by talking about it, we discover there are a few other feelings attached to that feeling, and it helps us gain some perspective. Find a safe person, like a parent, a trusted friend, or an adult in your life who you can talk to about your moods. Somebody who will help you identify what it is that you're feeling and how it might be causing you to act. Maybe even talk to Jesus in prayer. He invites us to come to him with our feelings. So maybe start there. And 3, be kind to yourself. This one is important. If there's one thing I want you to know today, it's that your feelings aren't bad. And feeling them, talking about them, or experiencing them isn't bad either. Remember, we said this whole managing our moods thing wasn't going to be easy. So be kind to yourself. And when you don't always get it, right? Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Or, don't beat yourself up. Give yourself a chance to do it differently next time. To not let your feelings be the boss of you, to take it to Jesus and ask for his help. And remember that emotions don't have to be the boss of you. Now, we know it's easy to talk about this in a video, but when it's in your real life, it's not so easy. Real life is complicated, and so are real feelings. That's why me and my friends at Middle School Digital Shorts show up every week, because we care about you. And that makes Milestone a safe place to turn to with your real questions about your real feelings. And don't forget your parents. They're here to help you realize that emotions don't have to be the boss of you. So as you look to the week ahead, I want you to consider talking to them about this question. When was a time you remember letting your emotions be the boss of you? It's been real. Can't wait to be with you all next time.